Apparently, we're crazy not to buy now, according to a 28-year-old in the property industry. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian.Heise here, and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. Grab your stein of coffee, because it's a good one I'd like to look at today. Now, this is an article from the Courier Mail that was published via realestate.com.au a few days ago. It's an interesting piece. So buyers are crazy not to take government freebies or bribes, says a 28-year-old investor. A 28-year-old investor. Now, 28. Good on her. Good on her that she's, doing well financially. But, you're probably a little too young to remember the last recession Australia had to have. In the 90s recession, the early 90s. I'm approaching 40, and I still remember it. And it's probably more acutely felt because my father was working in the construction industry. We had a construction business in Victoria at that time. So it just, decimated that sector. Now, here's the problem, taking some advice from someone in the industry. Everyone will have a bias towards normalcy or return to just the normal state. And we're living in a time of radical changes. The gross GDP has just taken a huge hit. There's political turmoil all over around the world. International tourism has, ceased to exist. International student education is gone. You've got a significant portion of the population dependent on money from the state to keep them going. So it's crazy not to take government freebies. Or maybe it's crazy to take someone's advice from someone in the industry who hasn't experienced a recession. Because there's just another thing I want to point out before we go through this article. Just another thing we want to point out. This was sent to me by a viewer this morning. The old joke that property, I guess it wasn't a joke in Australia, but it's soon going to be, that property always doubles every 7 years. Well, property can do the exact opposite every 7 years. And this is a property insight from Perth in Western Australia on Wellington Street. So a unit, we'll look it up a bit later. But here you have the estimate value is $550,000 to $600,000 as the estimate. And you need to upgrade to premium to get the better deal. But it last sold for, in 2013, 7 years ago, $1,050,000. So if that theory, that meme, frankly, of property always going up, you see here, look at the chart, you can see Darwin is the orange line. Look at 2013, it was still on the way up, so they probably missed the peak in 14. They're probably feeling like they were geniuses. Geniuses. And look at it now. Losing $500,000. That alone is worrying, guys. So don't think we can't have massive property corrections here in Australia. Don't think they can't happen. I'm not surprised in apartments and units. We've seen how just the drastic fall in approvals, in building approvals. Look at apartments, it's going down. Confidence is going down. That sector has been overheated. And look at the quality of stuff that's coming out. The renders, guys, they're easy to do. Well, no, they're not. They take time. But they're a lot easier to get a nice render than to get a nice building. So here we go. A 28-year-old who's about to settle her fourth property says first home buyers who don't jump at the $50,000 worth of government freebies are crazy to miss out. So you're crazy. You're crazy. Alex Fitzgerald, the acquisitions manager for property investment company Custodian, bought her first investment property at 22, and 6 years later is about to settle on her fourth one. She said government incentives were huge right now for those wishing to get into the property market. Well, yes, they are. What does that tell you? They are worried. They are worried. The economy is really teetering on an edge. They've locked down the entire economy. Construction, which is pretty much the second basket we put all our eggs in, it's either mining or construction. They're just chucking everything they can at it. The financial incentives on offer at the moment for first-home buyers are huge, she said. In some states, when you pull the state government and federal government concessions, together and take into account the reduced stamp duty, you can access up to $45,000 or $50,000. I mean, do you think the person, if they had have got the $50,000 grant to buy this property, would be happy with that move? You know, is an apartment a forever home? Can you know, the old Australian dream of having the kids playing out in the backyard, like right now, they are decimating my gym setup outside. It's been turned into a cafe and they're playing. You can't really do that in an apartment, can you? Or maybe I'm just old-fashioned, you know, want kids to play outside. No one is ever going to hand you that sum of money again. Well, that's not necessarily true. That's not necessarily true. They might. Wait and see. I've got another video coming up later today where we're looking at just the home loan guarantee scheme that's been extended. Instant tax write-offs are being backdated. It really feels like the hidden secrets of money are coming to pass here in Australia. So you'd be crazy not to jump in now and take advantage of it. You'll essentially have $50,000 of equity in your home from day one. Really? I don't know. Because you can only get that $50,000 to new builds. So you're getting an advantage to jump in. Or if you're getting the home builder, you're getting an advantage to jump in. But it's depressing demand for existing houses. She said if you can afford it, now was the time to get in on the incentives, as well as the lowest interest rate in history. For now. It may go negative. It may go negative. I mean, you can see. In most cases, she said, it would cost less to own than to pay rent. Again, for now, rents are falling as well. Her preference was to focus on the land first. Buying land gives you a very valuable asset, and paying it off is like a forced savings plan. Does she work for a land bank? Anyway, she says buy land for price growth, but prices don't always go up. I guess land is a better investment than an apartment. I'll give it that. It's a better investment than an apartment. An apartment, you own a skybox, which just sucks money out of you. Land is what increases in value, so this is the most important part of your purchase. Prioritize your land component. Ideally, it would be 40% or more of your purchase price. Most people start by picking their house, whereas that is exactly the opposite of what you should be doing. You should be steered by what you can afford, but consider the lifestyle aspects too. Is it close to transport, amenity, and schools? I mean, that's good advice. That's good advice. I mean, what we bought our house for is now less than the land value, according to the state, which is just ludicrous. Just ludicrous. Because we didn't buy that long ago. And I thought prices were high when we were looking around. I thought they were insane, but Ms. Fitzgerald said, it was not realistic to chase your perfect dream home as your first house. Now, that's very good advice. That is fantastic advice. 100% agree. You don't need the McMansion. You don't need to have so many extra bedrooms. The more space you have, the more crap you'll fill it up with. You know, I think there needs to be a return to simpler times where people had a smaller house and then just extended it as their family grew. Or getting bunk beds again. Build what you can afford. As we get older, our incomes increase and our equity increases. Then we'll have access to more money to add onto or extend the house to suit our changing needs. So yes, no, good advice. It doesn't matter if the house isn't your dream home. It just needs to be somewhere that is well connected by transport with schools and shopping amenities, so after your year of living there, you can rent it out and move where you want. Okay, so this is the strategy, what she's doing. She's just buying and renting, buying and renting. I mean, which is fine. You can do that. At least not like the teacher who negative geared 5 of them, was only paying credit, interest only. Remember that story, guys. That was a doozy. In most states, you need to live in your house for 12 months to be eligible for those grants. I know a year seems like a long time for some people, but we're talking about an investment that is going to be a key stepping stone to your future. A year is a long time. I guess when you're 28, a year may be a long time, but I don't know. It's not long at all. It goes way too quick now the older you get. 1 year. Oh boy, this year's nearly over. You know, what was it? October now. The Christmas is like around the corner and Christmas just happened. So, It's a free kick. All these grants. So why not use them? Take the free kick. No matter which way you cut it, it's free money. It is unbelievable help to get you into your first home. She said finding a good mortgage broker was an essential first step for first-home buyers. The mistake I see from first-home buyers all the time is they go directly to the bank where they have their savings account for their mortgage. I would advise instead you find yourself a great mortgage broker who can find the best deal for you. Bank A might lend you $400,000 where Bank B might be willing to lend you $450,000. The only difference could be the industry you work in, how you earn your income, or even how the bank calculates borrowing capacity. She said the $50,000 free kick from the government to build new was a great advantage, but those homes also came with a builder's guarantee. If that property doesn't eventually become an investment, the newer it is, the easier it is to rent, and you've got higher tax depreciation benefits. The federal government is set to deliver the national budget on Tuesday, October 6th, when the fate of home builder and other housing schemes will be confirmed. What do you think, everyone? Do you think they'll kick home builder down the road? Do you think there's some good advice here? There's certainly some good advice that she's giving. But, it's not free money, everyone. Remember, we pay it back one way or another eventually. And not all property is going to go up. But then again, with her advice, buying the land, you wouldn't fall for this, would you? What do you all think, guys? Do you think good advice or bad advice? I think there's some sensible things in there, but the young lady hasn't seen a recession yet firsthand. This is going to flip a whole lot of, throw a whole lot of people for a surprise. That free kick will bounce off the goalpost and hit the ref in the head. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. If you're a fan and want to support the content I create here, there are a few ways you can. You can join the channel on YouTube or Patreon. You can support us using our affiliate links at Amazon, eBay, Independent Reserve, or Kucoin. You can buy merch from HeiseSays, use Gold Pass from the Perth Mint, or support us via PayPal. Take care, guys. Have a great day. I'll see you next time.